Hey guys, Revan619 here. I'd had a few comments asking about what I thought about the differences on console versus PC now that I've gone over to PC for Fighter PL's thing and done a little bit of practicing in the arena. I've copied the most basic fashion in the arena because I spotted it yesterday when I was doing my Pyre Flame video and I kind of liked it, so I thought I'd use it before donning the old build mask into the arena. So I wanted to articulate some thoughts on it, and I haven't really written anything down, so a lot of this is going to be off the cuff and rambling, and if you already played both, it's probably not going to be for you. I'm going to talk about what I've noticed in like a day or two of playing, and sort of like the experiences I've had with that, and comment on a few fights from what I've had going on so far. So the first thing you're going to notice when you're playing this is frame rate. At the 60 FPS, the game does feel a lot smoother. A lot of people used to talk about it, and a lot of people used to say that going from a regular PS4 to a Pro makes a huge difference. I personally never noticed a difference going from regular PS4 to Pro or going back. If anything, I noticed lag more on the Pro, and the phantom range in lag was much worse for me. But going to PC, my goodness, can you really see and feel a difference. Now, I'd started playing a few fighting games like Soul Calibur, Absolver, a bit more combat, you know, the stuff that killed my channel and stopped me going from about 60k views back down to 2k because it dropped me out of the YouTube algorithm. And what I was really seeing was Dark Souls on console was very unresponsive and sluggish, and I hated it. Like, I'd press a button, there'd be an input delay, it would queue things that I didn't want to queue, and it just led to mistakes happening that wouldn't have happened if the game was just a little bit more responsive. On PC, you don't really notice that as much. Yes, you can still input buttons, and yes, it's not always the smoothest, but it is a big difference, and you really will notice that extra frame rate. Like, it is such a huge jump to go from console to PC that you wouldn't believe it. Like, I used to mock the PC players who used to always talk smack about console players, and they used to come onto console and get absolutely destroyed. And I really understand now, because they're used to being able to space so much closer, they're used to having more time to reaction roll, they're used to having more time to do everything. Everything's easy on PC. And so with that frame rate difference, it was really hard for them. So when console players went to PC, we were like spacing gods, because we played really aggressively compared to how passively PC players played, and they had no idea how to deal with it. So you had people like Bao Solus, Tripod, the other people who jumped over to PC who were absolutely just shredding the PC tournaments, which led to most of them coming to PS4 for like some more competition. I don't know if that was because the tryhard scene on PC was kind of dead, because every time I saw a tournament on PC there was like 10 people barely showing up, but on console when I was running tournaments I was having like 60-80 applicants a tournament. We were really having to whittle them down, and I remember like the first one I did, I had to do a live stream that had like 800 people watching just for tryouts and stuff like that. So the big difference with frame rate is connections. Connections. Now, Dramatic has done nothing but complain that he has seen a lot of latency, and I've seen a lot of people comment that all they find is Chinese and Russian players. Playing this on PC as an EU player, or specifically in the UK, I have not really seen any laggards in about 5 to 10 hours of playing in the arena. Now, I've seen two. One was a guy from Taiwan, and the other guy I just assume was on bad Wi-Fi. Now, at the moment, just for testing, I was playing on Wi-Fi. Don't Wi-Fi go into tryhard fight clubs. I will grab a LAN cable. I can set up and use it. But yeah, I've seen two laggy players. So yeah, I have no idea what people are talking about that. Maybe I've just been lucky. But everything for me has felt really smooth. Like, parries have felt smooth, backstabs have felt smooth, whiffing, punishing, it's all felt really smooth. Like, the only time I saw any sort of issues was a couple of times in Fighter PL's stream. He was streaming on his mobile dongle and my screen would freeze, and then suddenly I'd just explode with damage. But again, I don't know if that was his connection because he was on mobile Wi-Fi when he was streaming and hosting the Fight Club, or if the fact because I was on my laptop, and obviously I've got no dedicated graphics RAM on a laptop. So who knows, there could be a whole lot of things. But overall, connections seemed much better for me. Next one, activity. Now, PS4 was practically dead for me. It got so bad that I had to turn cross-region off because I was only seeing Australians, Japanese players, North Americans, by North Americans I mean Canadians, they're all a bunch of laggards, and people from Brazil, Japan, China, basically just the worst possible places to connect to me. I didn't see many central US people, East, West Coast, or even EU. So for me, the game was pretty much dead because I'd run into the same 5 people at Pontiff in the arena constantly, no one else, and it was incredibly laggy. So I just was losing interest. I had no interest in PS4, and it was dead. So when I stopped playing, because I was like, meh, dead game finally, it's been 3 years, And then I got a load of people freaking out in the comments, and I made 2 trolling videos back to Agents and Duels to kind of mock the sort of replies. I had no idea that PC was actually still really active. Now, if you look at the Steam stats, it's saying it's about 10,000, but I think because of cheat engine, a lot of people are probably in that 125 meta range, so 10,000 people for a fighting game is a lot. And yeah, that 9 to 10 hours on PC, I've barely seen the same person 3 times, if even that. So yeah, there's been a lot of variety. I've had cross-region on, I've played on Wi-Fi, no connection issues for me or the opponent, so the activity seems a lot bigger. Moving on to the sort of differences in the players. One thing I've noticed, players are genuinely more passive, or they're really stupidly aggressive and then they just run the clock. A couple of people that I saw playing would basically, for the first half, wouldn't engage at all, so I've had to cut like the first half of most fights because people were just running away from me trying to get me to walk into attacks. When they realised I wasn't going to do that, they then got a little overly aggressive and I was able to punish them quite easily. But what I was seeing with that sort of play style and the way people sort of played it, it was very different. I think because the spacing is so much better and easier, people can play safer a lot easier. Like on PS4, if you throw out 3 R1s, you're likely to hit someone even if they roll them perfectly with the second or third one. It's a little stupid, like you can perfectly roll and still get caught by phantom range. You can visibly, blades can miss and they can still damage you. But you don't really see that on PC, so you can like run past attacks and backstage people really easily and safely, and it just feels right. I really understand why PC are all a bunch of elitists. Like when you can like backstab spears, halberds, katanas, rapiers, all very consistently, because of how smooth everything is and what you visually see happens unless there's latency, then that's just good. Like you really notice it. One thing I have noticed is a lot of people in the arena, if you don't keep on them, will run and hide to try and med heal. Like, if you aren't within this sort of distance, you can see on the screen between me and this halberd guy, they'll run away and try and med heal, and everyone seems to have it. Like, PS4, most people carry Tears of Denial and use regen. PC, no one really seems to have Tears of Denial that I've seen. A couple, yes, but it's not often. It's because they're all carrying med heal, and they're waiting for you to stop chasing them so they can run and heal up all their health. And they will do it. Oh god, will they do it. But yeah, so the playstyles I've seen with that is basically, yeah, it's way more passive on PC, and as a PlayStation player I feel like a lot more aggressive than these guys. I seem to roll catch better as well, which is weird because I'm not really used to it, but it is easier to roll catch, but you have to time it better. Now, it's weird that I'm saying it's easier but you have to time it better, but the reason is, if you react to the roll, you can roll catch very easily, but if you try to predict the roll like you would in PlayStation, you'll just miss because the connection is so much better, because PlayStation doesn't always really go with what's visually happening. So if you look at what I'm doing to this guy, I'm reacting to his rolls to catch them, rather than trying to predict him or thinking that he's going to roll. So I'm actually pressing R1 when I see the roll, rather than thinking that's him about to roll. A couple of times I tried to do it early, it just doesn't work, so I'm still trying to get used to it. But then moving on to how the weapons feel. First R1 on straight swords feels much longer. Second R1 seems much shorter. It's weird because on PlayStation sometimes people would roll the first R1 and the second one would still magically hit even if they rolled out of your range. But on PC sometimes you'll hit with just the tip of the first R1 and the second one will whiff because it doesn't have enough range. So I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, you don't always alter roll catch. And if you time rolls wrong and you roll a little too early, things like katanas and daggers will quite easily roll catch you, so it does feel a little bit different. Scar and Black Flame for me seems to have a little bit more reach. I don't know what that's all about. Maybe the hitboxes are slightly different. Daggers, a little bit easier to avoid and punish. Quick Step, again, a little bit easier to punish if you know how to time it, and if they're not timing and they're just mashing it, much easier to catch these dudes. But overall, I would say the meta feels more meta, and the non-meta feels way worse. Like, all hyper armor weapons seem like they've been heavily nerfed. One of the big things that I was seeing was non-meta weapons were very, very easy to catch and avoid and punish. So people using ultra great swords, like, you don't really need to roll. You can actually just stand outside their distance and slowly walk in and out, and you can bot them quite easily. People, again, sometimes on console, you'd throw a hit and it would sometimes hit lingering hyper armor, so they would be able to roll out hits that they shouldn't, or it'd appear like they would roll early. But that was mostly because of connection play, so you get that a lot with like Canadian Wi-Fi users being like, it's stupid. But you don't see that on PC as much, so people who use the ultra great sword, dagger builds, great swords, great lance, and all sorts of other hyper armor halberds and stuff, it's not as effective on PC, so those things are a little bit harder to use. However, one other thing that's quite bad is wake-up punches seem much easier. Now, on PlayStation, what you'll ever see is if someone ever gets a knockdown, they'll switch to Gunder's Halberd and they'll charge and they'll hit you and you can't roll, and they'll just repeat this infinite loop until you're dead. On PC, if you get a backstab or parry, knock someone down, if you run behind them, then run into their back, the second that they start getting up, if you R1, it is very easy to wake-up punish them before they can move. So you'll get like a backstab and then a free 2 R1s and they can't roll. You have to time it right, but it is quite easy. I was doing it semi-consistently, maybe 3 and 5 I was catching after a backstab, so that was quite nice. And like I said earlier, when you can run past the visible running attack of a spear or a katana or an S-stock and then backstab them, it is a thing of beauty and it feels glorious. I really don't understand the meme that people used to say that S-stock was OP and unstoppable. It feels weaker on PC, it feels much weaker on PC, because yeah, S-stock is fast and straight swords, but it has longer recovery, so if they miss, it's much easier to punish, and if you run past it, you've got more time to backstab an S-stock poke than you do a straight sword R1 or a curved sword R1. So yeah, I have no idea where Momesta came from with rapiers. Like, backstab and shield poke's pretty easy, backstab and R1's pretty easy, spacing and punishing running R1's very easy on that. So again, not sure where that came from. Halberds, like I said, R1s and running attacks, if you plan it, you can backstab them, same with spears. If people unlock with spears and pokes, they can hit you, can be annoying, but if it all comes down to a magical running backstab. Now, curved sword running attacks, definitely easier to avoid. If you run to the left and slightly away from them, you can actually run out of the range of the curved sword and not get hit, as long as you don't show your back to them. Basically, keep them at your side and you can run out of their curved sword running attack pretty safely. But if you show them your back, you'll get caught because you've got a big hitbox in your back. Same with straight swords. You can actually run around the R1s and backstab them, kind of like you could to great swords, but it's really hard to do it on reaction. You need to really, like in your footsie game, have the right angles for it. But yeah, easier to parry, easier to backstab non-meta weapons. Hyperarm weapons, much easier to avoid. You can walk in and out of their range almost pretty safely. For some reason, some guys with greatswords have managed to two-hit combo from the second R1 of the greatsword. So like, I've slightly mistimed going in to punish the first R1, been caught by the second R1, and they've hit me for 2 hits. And I was just like, oh, where can I go? But another thing I've noticed is it's easier to interrupt the hyper armor. Normally when people go for running attacks or rolling attacks or stuff like that with poised weapons, specifically ultra great swords and great swords, I find that you can interrupt them a little bit easier. Even if they've just started the swing, they don't have instant hyper armor, so you can knock them out there. I saw a great sword guy try to rolling attack me, and like damage had just hit me and I had hit him, but it knocked him out of the hyper armor and I got the second hit off quicker than he could. So yeah, that was pretty interesting there. Again with the old greatsword, PS4, there was a guy who used to always be a greatsword leader, used to use a dagger, and he used to do a lot of running attack spams, and he would have lingering hyper armor, so even if you caught his running attack, he would then be able to roll out the second hit, or sometimes you'd run past his running attack and you'd get stunned by a shockwave that isn't behind them. You don't see that on PC, so it is much easier to punish that noise. But again, if you make mistakes in the arena, an ultra greatsword is still going to 3-shot you, a greatsword is still going to 4-shot you, so you can't just rest on your laurels. You make a mistake, you take a trade that you shouldn't do, and you can easily eat up to 1,000 damage. When you've only got like 1,300 health in the arena, maybe less if you're a caster, not good times. But I don't think you're going to be seeing 90-degree mail breaker turns like you will on PlayStation, when someone's going in a straight line and you straight found it, and suddenly they turn 90 degrees and hit you anyway. Not going to see that on PC, which is quite nice. So the platform's more active, a lot more consistent, a lot smoother. So if you are still playing Dark Souls and you're getting a little bit bored of the platform, I would say give it a little try. Next time you see a 75% sale, maybe give PC a go if you've got the capabilities, because it might actually rekindle your love. Like a bit myself, I've been getting quite bored of Dark Souls. There was no one that I needed to play that was a challenge. I'd beaten everyone there was to beat. I could beat the top 3 players consistently, even if they were still better than me. And there was no one really new who was up and coming that was worth playing. Yes, there was a couple of people that were a little bit laggy who would then try and make a name. There was people who've been starting fights saying like they're one of the top 5 players in the game, and they're absolutely terrible. And it's just like, it's petty high school drama, and there wasn't really any challenges. However, PC still has a lot of tryhards that I myself have been dying to fight for ages. So it'll be quite interesting to actually get the chance to play them. It'll be quite interesting to see what they've got, what they do, and how it plays differently. Like, silly little things like, I was finding crossbows easier to reaction roll on PC because at close range on PlayStation, it's almost impossible to avoid a crossbow shot if they got good accuracy. Whereas on PC, if you listen to the sound of it firing and you roll on the sound, you'll reaction roll it pretty safely. Which means that a lot of the crossbow roll catches is actually mostly because of latency, where they've shot at your roll, you should have iframed through it, but there's been slight lingering damage, so it's hit you after your roll when it shouldn't have, which again, on a good connection on PC, you don't see that. So maybe some US to EU players get roll caught by crossbow shots they shouldn't, or they can't run around shots they should be able to. Me, myself, I've not seen that. The only times I've really been hit by a crossbow is if I didn't roll thinking I could avoid it, or I panic rolled and they reaction to my panic roll. If I'm in just neutral and I'm waiting for the shot, even if I'm using Fire Surge, normally I can avoid it. But again, I've only got 9 hours of experience here, so I could be talking out of my absolute butt. I found some fun little things of a way to annoy crossbow users. Like even against a Knight's crossbow, if you've got Black Knight shield and you've got a regen ring on and you've still got your shield ring on, if you swap your main hand weapon to a blessed weapon, you can actually regen through the crossbow chip damage and it will keep re-popping on your Lloyd's shield ring, so you can just drain their 30 crossbows. No, it's a hard counter, not the best hard counter, but if they don't come in to use a dark weapon for melee, really easy to outpassive them. But then again, second you're outside of shield ring range, that's not really a viable strategy, but it's something funny to do. But again, quick step, a lot easier to avoid crossbow shots, a lot easier to avoid rope fire bombs as well, although mistakes will happen if you get over eager, especially if you roll. Like, if you roll a rope fire bomb, never go for the attack because they'll always get an R1 off first, even with a straight sword. But if you can run around it, you'll probably catch them well before they get a chance to do it. What else is there really to say? Crossbows, I don't know, seems weaker to me. Straight swords and curved swords definitely seem stronger. Everything else seems a little bit easier to counter. Like, I'm not saying you're always going to win, but like the non-meta feels way more non-meta on PC, so it is a little bit easier to beat that kind of stuff. And a few other things like Pyromancy, still pretty fun. Scar seems longer on PC to me. I don't know if it is, but it just feels like it is. But I'll have to do some more testing from that. Very easy to consistently backstab some weapons, so again, really liking that. And yeah, once I've got used to the spacing and I've done some more practice with a few more try-hard friends, then yeah, I'll definitely don my armor, go into the arena. Maybe once I've sorted out a place to stream and got my PC set up, I'll do some streams, but until then I'll have to do just some Windows 10's recording on my laptop. But yeah, once we've got all that, it'll be groovy, and I can't wait to see if it will just evolve to Murky and Scythe builds, and we'll see how easy that is to avoid, because I think it is slightly you can avoid it and counter it slightly easier on PC, because it's easier to catch those quick steps, but we'll see. It might have just been the players I was playing. And yeah, I'm looking forward to testing some more of the weapons specifically, because so far I've only used Straight Sword, Parting Flame, Demon Scar, Crossbow. I haven't really tried any of the big weapons, but when my opponents were using them, they just felt like they were so slow. I felt like Neo just walking around stuff, really easily punishing recovery on the hyper armor stuff. Like things that people definitely would have rolled out on PlayStation, they're not rolling out of, so it's pretty good. So far, I've only played one tryhard, so I'll throw that in at the end there, but let me know what you think of this so far. Let me know of your thoughts if you've played both platforms, or how my experiences sound to you, and what you make of it. But yeah, I think that's all I've really got to say on it for now. I'm going to get some more practice in, make some more build videos. I'm going to start doing some build videos where I do, like, say, dagger builds, and I'll show 3 completely different dagger builds, maybe with slightly different playstyles, and I'll tell you my thoughts and feelings on it, and we'll go through all that sort of stuff. And again, we're going to see what people play. A couple of people have asked me how you counter Fire Surge. It's pretty easy, actually. I don't want to tell too much about it, but there's some really easy options, like just running side to side, Black Knight shield, regen, being passive, or even just attacking the caster when you know there's a point they can't roll using Fire Surge. And if you know when that point is, it's actually pretty easy to counter. But yeah, looking forward to it all. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think B-Dub says he's going to get a PC, so it'll be very fun to see what he does with the PC tryhards. And then yeah, if I can find any of the non-Salt Lords, I'll play some of those PC tryhards and see how that goes down. But overall, I really enjoyed the little switch to PC. Like I said, it's rekindled my enjoyment of the game. There's a couple of people that I still need to play. Like Chase the Bro got donated £50, which is something like $60, maybe $70. A couple of months ago to play me, and obviously he was dragging his feet because he didn't really want to do it on PlayStation, but maybe we'll get around to doing it on PC. I think that could be a little fun. Maybe we can do some collabs with those guys. I'll see if I can convince any of the other tryhards that have PCs to get set up on PC, because I know a couple of them have jumped over and they've playing. I saw Dramatic post a video of him fighting G9 today, which was very enjoyable to watch, and it was very different to their games on the PS4. Because on the PS4, Dramatic was finding it really hard to dodge around Phantom Mage of Hyper Armor. He couldn't really seem to punish the trades, but on PC, he was just dominating that stuff. So yeah, it does show that the platforms are so much different, especially for PvP. So yeah, I wonder how I'll adapt. Will I get more passive? Will I get more aggressive? Don't know. Sky's the limit, and Dark Souls, I guess, isn't that dead yet, especially if you're on PC. But yeah, till next time, Revan out.